when you're actually in space above the Earth, I mean, that must be an incredible feeling. How, I mean, how do you feel when you're actually looking down at the Earth, this blue sphere?
It is the view and the feeling from Earth is difficult to describe. And I'm not the most articulate person, but I'll give it my best shot. But the view is just absolutely spectacular. There's nothing, and I mean that, there's nothing that I've ever experienced that is as majestic and beautiful and just all-consuming as just viewing the Earth from space. It's
Yeah.
like this magnetic magnificence that just pulls you and focus, like pulls your full attention, and you can't help but focus on it and just be in awe of its beauty. And it's a beautiful planet, and seeing the blackness of space, and at the same
Yeah.
time you are weightless, floating in space, and so it's a
Yeah.
symphony of unusual sensations and visuals that all kind of come together for just a really awing and wonderful experience.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much, Christopher Huie, for taking the time to chat to me. You know, you have made so many, all Jamaicans proud by being, well, one of the few Jamaican people of Jamaican heritage that have actually gone into space somewhere. So let me ask you, did you always want to be an astronaut? I mean, when did you realize that you had this interest, in science, space exploration? Yeah, where did that come from?
So I think I didn't always want to be an astronaut, but there was a time when I was a kid when I think everyone wanted to be an astronaut. There's few things more inspirational than space and just exploring the cosmos. So
Yes.
certainly when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, and then that kind of evolved over the years. Then I wanted to be a pilot, a fighter pilot, and fly like extreme aircraft and fly
Yeah.
fast. And
Mm,
then I realized that that wasn't a very realistic goal for myself, and so I decided I wanted to be an aerospace engineer.
mm,
And even when I became an aerospace engineer, my passions were in helicopters and rotorcraft, and I did follow and pursue that career path for quite some time.
yes.
And
Yes.
then my career path just kind of led me to the space industry, and one thing led to the next, and I went to space. So it's certainly not something I planned for or was even working towards
Yes.
intentionally.
Yes.
Um, but just kind of opportunities kept presenting themselves that slowly led me to this one.
Yes. It sounds like a natural progression.
Yeah,
Um,
very much so.
yeah, I mean, there are not that many people of color, young men of color, in space exploration. So, I mean, how do you inspire young Black men to even consider science in the first place? Um, you know, to investigate it as a like a career option.
Yeah, so how do you get people to be inspired by to follow careers in science and technology? So
Hmm.
that was certainly my passion. That's what I did, and I think it's actually more valuable to try and find get people to find their passion and follow them, whatever they may be. And
Yes.
so I think exposure is probably the number one thing, knowing what the current state of the possible is, and
Hmm.
then imagining what the future could look like based on what we know about today. And
Yes.
so I think it's really just exposure is the first thing. But more importantly, I think it's great to follow your passions, because um,
Yes.
I think a lot of men of color, especially,
Hmm.
they aspire to be things that they see. So you see a lot of people wanting to be athletes or musicians or influencers, and that's just because those things are very prevalent, and not necessarily the majority. They're just highly publicized, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
just exposure and what you know about it makes a big difference as to what you think is possible.
Indeed. Yes. So who inspired you? Was there, any particular person in the industry or, an event that eventually made everything click?
So there wasn't anyone in the industry per se that really inspired me. I
Yeah.
actually didn't think I met my first engineer till I was probably like 15 or 16 in high school. So
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't something that I was exposed to on the regular
Yes.
to kind of plant that seed and follow by example.
Hmm.
I was really inspired just by like science fiction and watching uh, movies and TV shows, and specifically I'm a big Star Trek fan. So
Yes,
it was,
I am
it
too.
was yes, there's a lot of us out there, and I think it's a story that I really enjoyed following, and I still watch it to this day. And
Yes, yes.
I grew up in like the core years of the 90s were the next generation, where um, Captain Picard was the captain of the Star Trek Enterprise, of the
Uh-huh.
Starship Enterprise, and uh, Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge was the chief engineer of the starship. And
Yeah.
so I think that was probably the inspiring moment for me, that the person I would consider like my inspiration to see something that I could do and make
Mm.
it something I could imagine.
Yes, yes. Made it real for you, in other words. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly something to aspire to. Um, and yeah, I think we're all inspired by fiction and futurists, and
Yes.
little by little we've been making science fiction science fact, and that's the fun of being an
Yes.
engineer.
True, true. Now, so how do you prepare for, a space flight? Well, I mean, what do you do? Say you get up in the morning, what's your day like? Or I guess just it has to be a series of trainings. How do you prepare physically and mentally, really?
Yeah, so there's multiple things that I did to prepare for my space flight.
Yeah.
Some of those were provided by the company as the official astronaut training for the Virgin Galactic space flight experience. And so that's about 3 days of training before your flight, where you do everything from getting familiar with your spacesuit, your gear, getting familiar with the cabin, the seat, meeting your crew, your pilots, getting
Mm.
familiar with the flight profile and all of the different scenarios that you need to be cognizant of. So really just familiarization with the whole process. And then for me, there's high G training and all that stuff. But the other major preparation point is like mental preparation, because it's a big deal for like emotionally and for your family. And so
Yes.
there's this kind of ripple effect as it kind of fans out to all of your inner circles, and how that actually has an impact on pretty
Mm.
much everyone you know.
Yes, truly, yes. And but then now, when you're actually in space above the earth, I mean, that must be an incredible feeling. How, I mean, how do you feel when you're actually looking down at the earth, this blue sphere?
it
Wow.
it is the view and the feeling from Earth is difficult to describe. And I'm not the most articulate person, but I'll give it my best shot. But the view is just absolutely spectacular. There's nothing, and I mean that, there's nothing that I've ever experienced that is as majestic and beautiful and just all-consuming as just viewing the Earth from space. It's
Yeah.
like this magnetic magnificence that just pulls you and focus, like pulls your full attention, and you can't help but focus on it and just be in awe of its beauty. And it's a beautiful planet, and seeing the blackness of space, and then at the same
Yeah.
time you are weightless floating in space. And so it's just a
Yeah.
symphony of unusual sensations and visuals that all kind of come together for just a really awing and wonderful experience.
Yes, indeed. I love the word symphony. I mean, because it just brings everything together. Yeah. Um, so yeah, so you have this important role in helping Virgin Galactic create its first commercial space flight. I mean, what is your role actually in doing that? And well, how does it make you feel to be in such an incredible position, basically?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's kind of I was in the right place at the right time to be
Mm.
able to perform a role that the company need to perform.
Yeah.
So this was the last flight in our flight test program before we go into commercial operations for the business. And so I served in the role as a Michelin specialist, which was going through the entire customer experience for our commercial astronauts. And so this was kind of an evaluation of that experience and getting it ready and fine tuning the experience so that our customers have the best possible experience. And it feels amazing. It was an absolute honor to represent the company and this amazing team who's worked so hard for so many years to make this experience come to life for all of our customers and the future of commercial human spaceflight. So it's an honor. It's kind of humbling, kind of bewildering to think about it, but ultimately it's one small step of many steps to get here. And we stand on the shoulders of giants, and we will be the shoulders of the next generation that builds upon us as we take the space into take humanity into a spacefaring species.
Indeed. And where do you think that the first commercial flight will go? Just in space, or is there a destination?
So what Virgin Galactic is building is the world's first commercial space line. So it is a commercial tourism. It's kind of visiting space as you just go visit a tourist destination. So it's not the destination is space, and you go there and you come back. So that's kind of one of the definitions of suborbital space flight is you're just going to view the Earth and then come back. So yeah, kind of funny or ironic to think about, but right now we're all sitting on the view. We're sitting on the product that we're selling.
Yes, indeed. Wow. Okay. One of the important things for our readers, Caribbean Today's readers, is that you have Jamaican heritage. So your mother, your parents were born in Jamaica. You're obviously born in America, but obviously, Jamaican heritage. How did that Jamaican/Caribbean heritage sort of figure in who you are today? How did it shape you?
Sure. Yeah. So as you mentioned, I grew up here in the United States, and so I was raised by my mom primarily. And so my mom, was born and raised in Jamaica, and she came to the U.S. when she was a teenager to pursue more opportunities than what she had in Jamaica. And so I think I learned a lot from my mom and just and the way she was raised. And I think that the heritage that I kind of lived and just as seen through my mom's experience, she's a very strong woman. And I think it's taught me a lot of like sacrifice and hard work at the same time, and the ability to just improvise and adapt to situations. And my mom raised two kids as a single mom, and I think what was instilled in me was hard work and strong work ethic, but also the ability to just like relax and have fun and not take things too seriously, and don't forget where you came from, and remember to give back to others. And I think that's all part of like the Jamaican culture, and everything is Irie.
Yes, truly, yes. And of course, your mom was there when you made that flight, no? Yes.
Yeah, my mom was there. It was absolutely amazing to have her there. I was really happy that was able to happen.
Yeah. What was, I mean, what did you say to her, when you came back?
I don't remember what I said to her when I came back. I think I just saw her and we hugged very tightly. But she said to me, my baby's home. I think it was a very tense morning for her as I flew and flew up to space. And she was really glad and relieved to have me back. And I know she was nervous about the whole thing, but she was also really excited to experience it. And it was like the ultimate moment of pride for her. And I was excited to have her there and really see firsthand this experience and kind of enjoy it with me and not just observe it from afar. So it was a really important moment for me to have my mom there.
Yeah, it's lovely. Absolutely lovely. So yeah, last question. You are in the stars, destined for the stars, going into the stars, right? So what's your next step? What's your next project, your next flight, your next anything. What's next for Christopher Huie?
Well, I think part of my life philosophy and values is just um, seeing opportunities and deciding which ones to take to maximize my personal potential. And so I'm really curious to find out what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. So keep pushing the envelope of what I can do and see how
Yeah.
far I go. And that's so for me, it's important to inspire the next generation. And so this space flight was an opportunity to do that in another way that wasn't a part of the original plan, but it is something I've been working on. I've I'm not sure if you're familiar, but a couple of years ago, I co-founded a scholarship program here at Virgin Galactic, the
Mm,
Black Leaders in
mm,
Aerospace Scholarship and Training Program, or BLAST program for short. And so I think moving forward, pursuing that mission of bringing more people of color into science
mm,
and STEM and using the space industry and using the inspirational power of space to bring unity, prosperity, and equity
mm.
to disenfranchised communities and people of color.
Indeed.
I know exactly what that'll look like, but it'll have to top going to space. So you'll probably notice it.
Yes, yes. Wow. Okay. Well, that is a beautiful and perfect note to end on.